We are now starting question number 7, 15, 16 of that work power energy for this M1 paper. A lorry of mass 16,000 kg climbs up the state hill ABCD, which makes an angle of theta with the horizontal, where sine theta is equal to 1 over 20. For the motion from A to B, the work done by the driving force of the lorry is 1200 kilojoules and the resistance to the motion is constant and equals to 1240 newtons. The speed of the lorry is 15 meters per second at A and 12 meters per second at B. Find the distance AB. For the motion from B to D, the gain in potential energy of the lorry is 2400 kilojoules. Part 2. Find the distance BD. Then, for the motion from B to D, the driving force of the lorry is constant and equals to 7200 newtons. From B to C, the resistance to the motion is constant and is equal to 1240 newtons. And from C to D, the resistance to the motion is constant and equals to 860 newtons. Given that the speed of the lorry at D is 7 meters per second, find the distance BC. Since the lorry is going to move on a plane A, B, C, D. So let's say this is point A, this is point B, this is the point C, and that is the point D. On a plane which is making an angle of theta there, where sine theta is equal to 1 over 20. From this A to B, the distance is, let's say, equal to D. The driving force on A to B is 1200 kilojoules. And the resistance to that motion is from A to B is 1240 Newton. The speed at A is 15 meters per second and the speed at B is 12 meters per second. So from the equation of motion for the first part, work done by the driving force minus work done by the resistive force is equal to change in kinetic energy of the system because it is moving up. So it should be equal to mgh, where h is the height from the A to B there. Now we will put the values in this part regarding this information given in the question number 1. Work done by the driving force from A to B is 1200 kilojoules. So that will become 1200,000 joules because this value will become 1200 into 1000 and that would be in the joules there. Minus work done by the resistance force. And the resistance force from A to B is 1240 Newton. So it should be written as 1240 and the distance is A to B is equal to D because force into distance is the total work done. That should be equal to half mass of that lorry is 16,000 into V square minus U square. V is at that point B is 12 square minus 15 square plus mgh. M is the mass which is 16,000. G is h into D. We know from this calculation if this distance is D from A to B and this is the height h, then we know that h over D is equal to sine theta or h is equal to d sine theta. So we can put here d as it is, and sine theta, whose value is already given here, that is equal to 1 over 20. So now we will do the calculation of this part. This is 12,000 minus 1240 into D is equal to 800 into 124, 144 minus 225 plus M is there. This, so it should be equal to 8,000 D there. So we can calculate this value as 12,000 minus 1240 D is equal to 8,000 into minus 81 plus 8,000 into D. Now we can calculate 12,000 plus 800 into 81 is equal to 8,000 D plus 1240 D. So this value will be equal to, for the value of D, we can calculate it from the calculator. And this value is equal to 1848,000 divided by 9240. This distance is basically equal to 200 meter, is the distance traveled from A to B for the first part of this calculation there. Now for the second part, find the, for the motion from B to D, the gain in potential energy of the lorry is 2400 kilojoules. Find the distance BD. So we know one thing from this part. From B to D, this is again theta. Let's say this height, we are going to calculate it as H1, and this length is D1, and the potential energy by this particle is 2400 kilojoules. So that will become 2400 into 000, that should be equal to joules there. And we know that the gain in potential energy is basically equal to NGH1. So this is 2400,000 is equal to mass of that particle is 16,000. G is H, and from this portion H1 is basically equal to D1 sine of theta. So d1 we don't know, but sine theta is basically equal to 1 over 20. So this and this cancel, this and this cancel. So 24 is equal to 800 d1, or d1 is equal to, so that is equal to 300 meter. That is the calculation from B to D. We are going to calculate it. That the distance from B to D is basically equal to 300 meter. So this is the second part of this question. Now the third part.